fiddling around. So last week, I got very infuriated by the World Surf League, in particular its president of content, media, studios, and Super Moist White Cake, Eric Elo Logan, for becoming a storyteller. And I was thinking, what in the world is this? These stories coming out of the World Surf League are not good stories. They're not accurately reflective of any part of surf culture that I like, and so I just flew right off the handle and thought, it's time for a great change. It's time to actually fight back, because we as real surfers have the power.
Because it's our duty to speak in this place of freedom,
I think, and whatever the WSL is trying to do is not, again, it's just not reflective of what we want to do. So I wrote an article asking people what do you want to see, what part of, what do you want to see from the WSL? What do you want them to produce? I mean, this is going to be ostensibly for us, it's not for some make-believe non-surfing person, and so what do we as surfers want to see? And got a ton of great responses on Beach Grip, perfect responses, loved each and every one, and I was going to pick the best 95 to nail to the World Surf League Santa Monica door, just like Martin Luther nailed the 95 Thesis to the door. I think it was at Wittenberg. I don't know why I haven't looked yet. Anyhow, I was reading and I was getting ready to get these theses nailed to the door,
But I must confess, we're drawn here by other things as well.
I stumbled upon something that was profoundly disturbing. I've only ever really thought about the people locked outside behind on the other side, I guess, of the World Surf League's wall of positive noise. And I've, kind of felt bad for us, thinking, this is the garbage that we have to put up with. I can't really believe it. I don't know why we're forced to put up with this kind of nonsense, this kind of horrible, horrible business. But I was forgetting about a big group of people who are not on the outside, but rather locked behind on the inside. We have freedom, the people. You know who doesn't have freedom? Professional surfers. Professional surfers are fully gagged. And this came to me as I was thumbing through the World Surf League's rulebook. There's an article in the rulebook, if you can believe it, called Article 189, which states, and let me read here, Article 189, damage to surfing's image. Individuals bound by this policy shall not engage in any conduct which could cause damage to the image of the sport of surfing. For purposes of this article, quote, damage to the image of the sport of surfing is defined as any act, regardless of time or place, which casts the sport of surfing or the WSL in a negative light. On it goes. The pro surfers have zero freedom. No wonder there's a stinking wall of positive noise. They are restricted from saying anything even remotely negative about surfing. Before we can get to what we as people want from the World Surf League, before we can even have that conversation, we're going to have to tear down Article 189.
Tear down this wall.
It's absolutely patently ridiculous that the World Surf League is putting itself as the arbiter of what people can, what professional surfers, I guess, can or cannot say about pro surfing. How ridiculous is that? That's crazy. First things first. First thing we're going to do is demand, this is a demand here, that Article 189 gets abolished. Because without that, I have no idea. I have no idea if professional surfers like what they're doing. I have no idea if they're being abused behind the wall of positive noise. I don't know if they're being hurt back there. They can never tell us. They're gagged. We, the people on the outside, we just have to listen to this blather, but at least we have our freedom. Professional surfers have no freedom at all. Can you imagine that, living in a free country? And I guess it stands to reason that the World Surf League would partner with a Facebook, another entity that loves to restrict freedom. I suppose it makes sense that the World Surf League acts China-esque, or even worse, East German.
Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of this city.
In its approach to the sport. It all makes sense in light of this blasted Article 189. So again, before we can even have a conversation about what needs to change in surfing or how to make it better for everyone, Mr. Logan, I look at you and say, you must tear down this wall. This is a real disaster. Surfers signed a 10-year deal with the WSL recently, thereby restricting their freedom of any kind of speech to say anything negative about the World Surf League. Not only anything negative about the World Surf League, but anything negative about surfing in general. And how in the world did the World Surf League come in and all of a sudden think they speak for surfing in general? Surfers are not allowed to put surfing in a negative light, which is absolutely ridiculous. And now for 10 years, pro surfers will be locked in bondage, locked in darkness, unable to speak their emotions, unable to speak how they feel. They may like it, they may like life behind the wall of positive noise, they may hate it, we will never know. And so again, we the people have been free. We've been free for a long time. We've only had to listen to the wall of positive noise. Imagine how life is like behind the wall of positive noise. I'd like to know. I would like surfers to be able to speak freely. The only way that we'll know what's going on is if surfers are able to speak freely, and in order to speak freely, they must abolish Article 189. It's so beautiful. I just can't believe in all this time I was railing on the wall of positive noise, and we're free out there. Poor professional surfers. I wasn't even thinking about them. I wasn't thinking about their feelings, about their freedoms. Their rights. I really don't want to go to war. War is hell. It's ugly. I want to avoid war at all costs with the World Surf League. But unless professional surfers are allowed their freedom of speech, unless they're allowed to say what they truly feel about the World Surf League, about surfing in general, I honestly don't know what other option there is. So I look directly at you, Mr. Eric Logan, and I say, tear down this wall of positive noise. Abolish Article 189 and avoid bloodshed. Yeah, this is all, we're all in diplomatic mode right now. This is all diplomatic. But war is coming, and I guess you know, what is the old saying? I think it's prepare for peace, plan for war. And so WSL, we're planning for war here. I think we're gonna need a flag, I suppose, and we're gonna need some uniforms. Everybody's gonna have to have a rank. I'll choose general, but you can choose general too. Choose whatever rank you best feel fits your contributions and your personality. Lieutenant, I always liked lieutenant. I'd be a lieutenant if I didn't already pick general. The army of hardened purists is forming up, Mr. Eric Logan. But again, this is all diplomatic. And so abolish Article 189, and just let me know. I'm gonna give you a week to abolish Article 189. You can reach out to me any way you want. You can reach out to me via phone, via text, on Instagram, email, send me a cake, whatever you want. Just know that we at Beach Grit are here and we are demanding the rights of professional surfers. Okay, Eric Logan and WSL, you are free to leave. Your part of the message is over. The rest of this is for Beach Grit people. Okay, they're gone. I don't really know how to take them down. All I'm doing is sending stupid memes and tagging Eric Logan in them. But if anybody has a good idea of what would be a funny way to knock, at the very least, to get Eric Logan fired, tell me. We need to be able to find a place where we can speak privately with each other, and I'm looking for a platform where we won't get spied on by the World Surf League. So stick with me. We're almost there. And remember the plight of professional surfers. Professional surfers, we stand with you.
As long as this gate is closed, as long as this scar of a wall is permitted to stand, it is not the
Surfers.
question alone that remains open, but the question of freedom for all mankind.